Dear Rob, my son used to bang his head earlier and he stopped it. This is a preschool child. From the past 2 months, he's been pushing and biting children in the classroom for no reason. At home, he's trying to bite us when he gets angry for not getting what he wants. Please tell me why he's behaving like that with children for no particular reason. In most cases, when a parent is really concerned about the behavior of their child, whether it's biting or sometimes it's stimming, these movements, back and forth movements that can go on for hours, when parents are concerned about the behavior, they'll often get a behavioral response, a behavioral answer from a teacher or a therapist. So that, which means that they'll tell the parent, okay, you have to reinforce positive behavior, and if there's a behavior that you don't like, you have to give an aversive stimulus to it, punishment to it, something that will stop them from wanting to do the behavior. It's a simple behavioral kind of response to that question. And I don't do that. What I do is address the underlying issue. So he used to bang his head, stop, and now he's biting people in the classroom and he's biting people at home. Behaving like that for no particular reason. So why does the parent say there's no particular reason? That means that there's nobody provoking him biting. He's just biting it on its own. And it's mysterious, like why is he biting that person? That kid didn't do anything to him and he's biting the person. But there is a reason. And the reason is that this child, a preschool child, he's probably 3.5, 4, he's already gone about a year of his life with people not being able to communicate with other people. When a child's 2 years old, 2.5 years old, normally they're able to express their needs and understand, and they're like little people. But here you have a kid who's 3.5, 4 years old, who is frustrated, and nobody's been able up until this point understand the why. And that's the whole point of my response, is that if you say, or the teacher says, gee, there's no reason. I can understand if someone bothered him, there's no reason. Well, that means to me people are not looking for the reason. And the reason is likely to do with language and expressing himself and understanding. So if the parent were here, I would start asking questions about what does he understand, what doesn't he understand. Most parents say he understands a lot. And how does he express himself when he wants something? And how can we make that connection better with what he knows he wants and how to express it? And with a lot of these children, there's actually no connection to language. It's amazing. I don't know how I could explain it, but there literally is no connection between what they're thinking or feeling and language. They don't realize language is a way of making their lives easier and communicating something internally. And this might be the case here. There literally may not be a connection. So he has to be taught. That's the solution. He has to be taught that connection. And again, I could tell you what I do with some kids along those lines, but at least if you're a parent looking for that answer, right? If this child is one child who doesn't connect to language, then he has to learn how to connect to language. Once he does that, he changes almost immediately. It's an amazing revelation on his part. Like, wow, this language thing is great. This language thing really works. This is terrific. I don't have to bite. Biting doesn't work anyway. You still don't know what I want or what I want to communicate. And now you're reacting to me that I did something wrong because I bit, And meanwhile, nobody's getting me. So that's where I would start. When I say language, or teaching your child language as a way for your child to stop certain negative behaviors like biting, I don't mean holding up a picture of a house and saying the word house, or I've seen an ABA therapist holding up the letter T and the kid had to say T 8 out of 10 times as a way of starting to speak. I mean, it's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about learning language in the same way that we learn language, in some real situation, some real context. So let me give you an example of a child who had absolutely no language, and he was doing putting things in some order, and I took one of the pieces away, and he was looking for it. This was one of the very few times that he acted in a normal manner. He was actually looking for something. And now you have an action. He has a purpose. He has an intention. There's that, what linguists would call an affect. There's emotion behind what he's doing. He's purposely looking. So I wanted to insert in his mind a word so he could connect what he's doing to language. So what word did I connect? Try to have him connect. I said, where? It sounds like he's looking for something. I'm saying, well, where is it? Where could it go? Where do you think it is? So I'm kind of getting him to I'm trying to insert the word where as part of what he's feeling and what he's doing. You know, where is this block? Finally, he said, what? And to me that was the breakthrough. So he realized at that moment that language had something to do with him, you know, in a very fundamental way. And I think that same session, he said like 3 or 4 words. But that is an illustration of how the child was able to connect to language in general. But you need that situation where he is experiencing something that is part of his intention, his mindset, and his emotions that are all connected. So I just want to connect that with language, which he finds out very quickly how language could make his life a lot easier. So he doesn't have to have a tantrum or yell or bite or drag his mother over to the refrigerator. That he could use language in a much more efficient way to make his life a lot better and a lot easier.